And it looks like we are live. Awesome, cool. It's great to
Yay.
get on. So I've got a guest here today, Aesthetics Waiting. I think it's been about a year since we did the last live stream together. Is that right?
Yes, the now lost media where we did a live stream and he deleted it.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. I didn't know that I deleted it. I might,
It's lost
make
media
all of
now.
the streams live. To be honest, as in make them public again, because I think they can be good to watch on the channel. Like I'm just thinking
Yeah,
some of the
I agree.
favorite channels that I've watched before, and usually I watch their mainline videos first. Like Face and LMS. I watched all of his mainline videos, but then once I've got through all of that content, which can be good to especially like learn an ideology, change your ideology. But then once I got through that, I was just watching hours and hours of his streams. It was crazy.
I wasn't there. Like, I mean, I'm a bit of a new gen compared to you because the face on the LMS stuff was a bit before my time.
Oh, okay. Well, how long have you known like the BP for, and who was your entry point?
I would say your content actually,
Hmm.
and yeah, I just kind of found it pretty interesting the concept that looks are very determining of XYZ, and like the more you look into it and the arguments are pretty solid, it's just like yeah, there's obviously, a lot we haven't been told as men when it comes to looks, that's for sure.
Yeah, like I feel that I've been an entry point for a lot of people in the BP space, and
Hmm,
I'm not even
yeah.
saying that based on a feeling. I'm saying that based on a fact. Like number one, just the amount of comments, and I was like one of the first people that really started getting big views for this type of content. Like before me, there was a couple other content creators like ITV and Face LMS, and they were maybe in the tens of thousands of views. But then I took it to the hundreds of thousands of views per video, and some of my videos even eclipsed 1 million views. So that was where it was the first time people were talking about like, oh, is the BP going mainstream? But now it feels that it's fully gone mainstream. And we can get into that, but personally, I think that the new community, like, this is a step back. Like, it's 10 times more views, but 10 times less quality and 10 times more just garbage. I'm really not happy with, like, where I'm seeing the community going.
The kick streamer meta of clipping and all
Oh,
that
bro.
shit that's going on with
You know,
Navicular and
mm,
Nocturnal Kent and in that crew.
Androgenic and these people, like, bro, but I opened Instagram a few days ago and arguably the king of the Lux Max, the BP, whatever it's called nowadays, clavicular. Right, I saw a post, and this is on his IG profile, right, and it was just a 30-second video of him playing some gambling game, like, and he said like, oh hey, look how much money I won from these slot machines, like, and it was within 1 second I knew that it was just some sponsored post that um he's clipped it from a live stream and he's been paid off by this online casino, and they've said, hey, we'll pay 10K for you to upload a video of you pretending to win loads of money,
Well,
from this online casino, and then and you got to upload it so your audience watches it.
the monetization with those kick streamers, like from what I like gather, like I'm not like in the inner circle, but the way it works is these guys like they stream on Kick like a regular Twitch stream, but like near the end of the stream, it kind of flips into a gambling stream. So you get like you get like these teenage boys, watching a Kick stream, and then they switch up. Like they always go back home and like start playing like online slots or some shit to kind of to basically groom a bunch of teenage boys
I
into
know
online gambling.
it's very
That's the monetization model.
100%. It's extremely predatory in my opinion. And like I was getting people
I'm not a
calling me a
fan.
grifter for years for selling $5 products. For selling literally $5 products. People call me a grifter. You can't make this up. Meanwhile, you've got people that are getting paid thousands to stream online gambling to underage people. And
You
you
know,
wonder why
it,
they're on
it's
kick. Go for it.
It's yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of it. You know, I, I haven't really been offered like a real bag, so I can't really virtue signal that I'm like some amazing guy that has withstood selling out or anything. But I don't think I would. I don't think I would convert my streams into Gamba. Like I just I don't think I would do it, even if the money was good.
Well, I don't even think you can. Like the reason they're streaming on Kick is because apparently Kick is like, Elon Musk's Twitter version of YouTube. Because YouTube, TikTok, IG, like all of the mainstream platforms, they have really strict policy about what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do. The gambling
For
policy is really
gamble?
strict. Yeah, like I don't think you can advertise gambling on YouTube, especially when it's to an underage audience. Like, and that's why I think they're
Well,
streaming on Kick because Kick has no policy regarding this whatsoever.
I mean, I'm pretty damn skippy. There are Gamba content creators on YouTube,
Yeah, there are,
but
but they're not allowed to like be sponsored by gambling sites or I'm guessing that's what it
really,
is. Well, okay, I haven't seen you know gambling sites be a sponsor of YouTube content.
right. But even on YouTube itself, like there's like an option in your channel settings where you can enable gambling ads, like in like the advertising program. So like YouTube is fine with Gamba.
Well, I can
Like
chat
I just
GPT it
think
right now.
Kick. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's have God, answer our
Yeah.
question. Let's
Let
have
me see if I
the
can
AI God
actually
answer.
change the. There we go. It's like just barely visible. Are gambling sponsors allowed on YouTube? As in, a channel can be sponsored by
I'm
an
sure. I
online
just think Kick
casino.
does it more aggressively
I don't know.
because because what Stake is their sister company, or like it's like it's owned by the same people at least. So like that there's like very aggressive monetization for Stake.
Hmm. It says that it is allowed,
YouTube doesn't have any.
but there's strict uh, policies regarding it. So the online casino has to be licensed, and it said that if you upload a gambling video, then the video becomes age restricted, which I've had experience
Oh
with that
wow.
in the past, and it basically just tanks the video. It's more or less the same as
Yeah.
shadow banning. If you upload a video to YouTube and it says age restricted, you might as well not even upload it because it's never going to get blessed by the algorithm. It's not going to blow up. It's essentially YouTube's version of shadow banning without saying it.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, what can you do? Gambling is always going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, it is because it's one of the things where it can generate unlimited amounts of money per customer. Like if you have a sponsor
It
from
also
anyone
preys
else.
upon narcissism. It's like I'm special. I'm going to, everyone else is going to lose, but I'm just going to get lucky. Like it
Mm,
preys upon that narcissism.
yeah. Well, you got to remember that businesses, like the best type of businesses, are the ones where you can extract a huge amount of money from a massive amount of people. And some businesses are automatically going to have a capped range with regard to the number of people that they can access or the amount of money that they can access per person. For example, if you're selling coffee, then you've got two massive ceilings on you. You've got a ceiling that how much is somebody going to be able to spend on coffee per day? Like maximum $10. If they're getting two. It's not like an online casino where people can easily drop thousands in a day. And second, that you are localized to the 5,000 local households in your area. So you're going to need to do a Starbucks model of opening shops everywhere in the whole world to be able to make marginal amounts of money. And it's just nowhere near as profitable as a casino, where if you're advertising an online casino, you've got unlimited reach because it's online. Anyone with an internet connection can reach you. And second, you've got unlimited amounts of money that you can extract from each person because they can stake an unlimited amount.
Hmm.
Like, and that's why they're being sponsored by these online casinos. Like, as far as I am aware of the business model works for these new wave of kick streamers, like TikTokers, is that they pay some guy to follow them around with a camera for like 6 hours, and they get paid by clubs, like different venues in America. Like, I heard a video of Clav saying he gets paid 10K per attendance if he goes to like some Miami nightclub or whatever, because they know if he shows up, then a bunch of his fanboys are going to show up as well.
Nice.
Yeah, and obviously the nightclub gets a bunch of exposure from that too. So they spend half the stream doing that, like, and he's basically just collecting money for showing up, and occasionally getting aggroed on by the public. And that's why I think it's a dangerous decision that he's making. And if I was him, I would definitely invest in security. Like, if he's just paying one
Well,
guy $100 to follow him around with a camera, and he's making 10K just from the appearance of the club, and then probably another 10K from the casino sponsor for the second half of the stream, then he's got the money to be able to hire security. All it takes is one guy to be able to ruin his life.
sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I even said on a stream that I think it's I think Clavicular is a ticking time bomb, and I
I
don't like
agree.
relish saying that. I like Clav. I like his content. I think he's pretty funny, but it's kind of like there's something that's a bit dangerous with IRL streamers just in general, which
100%.
is you kind of it's funny when there's like a stream sniper and there's some aggro interaction. It's interesting content, right? But the problem is you're then like incentivizing it by making clips out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because now like any just random jackass that wants to get famous, like have 5 minutes of fame, is gonna like stream snipe him, and everyone else is gonna get that idea when that becomes viral. So it's kind of like this self-perpetuating harassment that you're kind of cultivating as an IRL streamer, and I think it's fuck knows how to deal with that. Like, it's I mean, part of me like wants to try IRL streaming, and part of me doesn't. And you know, I think that's a reason why you wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've got two things to say. And I think a lot of people would disagree with me on this, but especially the second point. But I am almost certain about both of them. The first one is what you just alluded to, that I think Clav is a ticking time bomb. That, you know, all it takes is just one person to stream snipe him in one way or another. And that could be physical violence or, someone taking him down legally. Because that's like the new way of canceling people nowadays. Like, it's the physical way of canceling people, like what happened to the man with initials CK, still happens. But I think that
Okay.
it was 6 months ago. CK,
Oh,
political influencer.
you can't say his name.
I don't know. I'm just a bit apprehensive about saying anybody's
Oh
uh,
man.
name. I'd rather be
Look,
safe
if
than
you don't want to
sorry.
say it, I won't say it. I'm on your stream, but
Yeah,
all right, that's a bit crazy.
yeah, yeah. Well, so him, obviously, the physical cancelling can happen. But now, what I'd say is a new way is the system, like, cancelling, or as the person with the initials AT would call it, the Matrix takedown, where all of a sudden a bunch of allegations arise from you, which could have been decades ago. Whether they're true or not,
Mm,
who knows? That's like happening more and more common now.
mm.
Yeah, so there's
But
that, and
isn't
then
that
this.
just like a famous person problem? Like, I mean, I don't
No,
know if
it's
it's
not. It's not just a
exclusive
famous
to.
person. This is the overarching point. Like, never sell yourself out um, to make money or clout, whatever you're looking for, in terms of controversial fame. If you're doing it in terms of jester fame, like you, like, because that's what most famous people are. Like 90% of famous people are jester celebrities. Like they're famous because they're a good singer, a good actor, a good footballer. Like they're entertaining the gesturing masses. But if you have controversial fame, such as the man with the initials AT or CK or clavicular, if you're any of these people, then yeah, you're getting a lot of recognition, a lot of clout, a lot of money from it. But the risk in terms of having people, try to cancel you is exponentially higher. Like we're talking 100 times X for when you have this controversial fame that you're gonna get cancellation attempts. Like Messi or Ronaldo, people aren't gonna try and cancel him. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to have someone try and shoot from him from the balcony, or a bunch of allegations come at him, which may or may not be true. But all of these people with controversial fame, they're the only people that get drinks thrown at them at parties, have people trying to aggro them at nightclubs when they're drunk, have people bringing guns to venues to either successfully or unsuccessfully assassinate them, or bring up all of these allegations from like usually women about what their potential misconduct is. Only people with controversial fame have this, or at least they have it 100 times X.
Yeah, yeah, hose mad. Yeah, that's how it goes. I feel like yeah, it's just a decision you have to make, right? Like, what's your tolerance of that? What's your risk tolerance? And you know, do you
Yeah.
just find it kind of boring being a just a celebrity, or do you want to like say something kind of interesting or a bit, countercultural? It's really a personal judgment, you know.
Well, I think it's always it's a losing proposition, because the expected outcome over the course of your lifetime, in my opinion, something's gonna f up. Something's really gonna like cause massive problems, and it's so easy to be all smiles now and all happy. And I've even seen videos of Clav say like, "Oh, my life is so great because I'm on this stream. I'm like making loads of money just for showing up to this nightclub." Meanwhile, some guy who's aggroing me has zero clout, zero money, and he's gonna have to wake up to go to work tomorrow morning. Okay, it's all smiles and he's all happy to be on his high horse and make that speech for now. And all of the people in his comments or in his live stream will be happy to say that. But okay, what happens in 6 months' time when Clav gets cancelled in one way or another? So, like the ways that we mentioned, and then he's forgotten about 2 months later, and then the next person takes his place and is making the same kind of speeches. You know what I'm saying? And people will be
Well,
like, "Oh no,
I
that's never gonna
feel
happen. It's never gonna happen." Well, you say it's never gonna happen until it does, because it happened to a person with AT initials, happened to the guy with CK initials, and people forget about them as soon as you get cancelled.
I kind of. I mean, like with AT, I'm just using yeah. I think AT, like he's still really well known now. Like he got cancelled in the way you described, but he's still doing fine. I don't think canceling means as much as you think. At least in the non-physical sense, right?
Yeah, it depends on the
Because
severity of
it's
it,
like it's
because
all about content. Like, do people like the content? If they do, then they'll watch. It's really that simple. Like, who cares what some fat millennial woman on X says? Like, who cares? Like, if someone likes the content, they don't care what someone on X says.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but like it depends on the extent of the cancelling, because the person with AT initials, like how much of his life did he lose? He was in jail for what, 2 years or something, and I'm pretty sure some point last year he got off a plane as soon as he landed in the UK, which is his home country he's a citizen of, and he gets arrested at the airport. So You know,
Well,
he got
I
tried
mean,
in. Go for it.
I don't really know what. Again, I'm not an expert on the law of Andrew T. I almost said his name. I'm not an expert on his lore. Like, I'm pretty sure he did do a lot of like just straight up just illegal things, right? So, like, I mean, I wouldn't really call that canceling.
No, but the thing
I
that
don't
makes
know.
it cancelling, right? Okay, I'm not 100% sure whether like he did the things that he was had allegations for. You know, like the webcam business. They said that like some say that the girls were forced, others say that like the girls voluntary did it because of money. But what you often see in these cancellation attempts is that all throughout the years when the person has zero clout, they never make these allegations. They never try and get cancelled. But then as soon as they find out he's got money and he's got fame, then all the people from years ago come out the woodwork and think, oh, well, this guy's got money now. We can contact the police, contact some lawyers, try and get him taken down. Like, and this happened with AT because those things happened years ago, and it also happened with Russell Brand. You know, he started opening his mouth for a bunch of controversial stuff in the last couple of years, and he slipped under the radar for I think 2 whole decades. But it's only recently that a bunch of people have started making allegations about him for things that literally happened 2 decades ago. Well, allegedly happened two
Mm.
decades ago.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
what
you know,
happens when you don't make cat videos.
yeah, exactly.
Like
So if you have
whenever you
Jester
do
fame,
something
it's
not
all
Jester,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Jester fame is
But is it
completely
all okay?
fine.
Because it's fucking boring being a jester. Like, don't you want to like be known as someone that said something different, and you're like different from the typical normie. Like, Clavicular has aura, right? Like aura that I don't think a bog standard celebrity would have.
You have negative aura. Like if you want to be a martyr, then by all means try to go for the controversial fame. But you end up just being a self-inflicted martyr. Like the reason I don't like the word martyr, right? This is a massive hot take right now, is that they
Okay.
always make it seem that martyrs were the victim, and you know, in many regards they are. But at the same time, could they have not have foreseen these cancellations happening? Like when it comes to these martyrs, anyone who you can go back 2,000 years, or even looking in the last 100 years, there's been plenty of people who have opened their mouth, in controversial political ways, trying to be the next person who's going to bring change to society or bring out some cutting edge new theories and stuff like this. They a lot of the time end up just getting cancelled, and after they get cancelled, either in the new way, which is you know allegations using the matrix system to take you down, or the old fashioned way, which is physically cancelling them. In either regard, after that happened, their hardcore fans say, oh, it was a tragedy. He didn't deserve to die. That's exactly what happened with CK. And, people were like, oh, he was a good man and you should never be cancelled or killed for saying your opinions. However, based on history, all of these martyrs should have known, actually, if you do try to pursue controversial fame, the risk that you get cancelled is exponentially higher. So what I'm highlighting is that they are almost self-inflicted. Like, I'm not victim blaming here, but I'm just saying if they were truly trying to protect their life and their family, like CK, he had 2 kids and a wife, and there's a question mark over the quality of his wife and what she's up to behind closed doors. Who knows? But if he's genuinely trying to protect himself and his family, his wife and 2 kids, then he should have dialed down the controversial fame significantly, because he's probably already made enough money. He could retire into the sunset and live a peaceful life, and eventually people would forget about him and his controversial opinions. But he always wanted to reach the next controversial fame milestone, and then eventually when you push the controversial fame milestone too far, people end up cancelling you. So people call him a martyr,
Well,
but he's kind of should have seen it coming.
first of all, I think if you're a political content creator, like a partisan political content creator, then this is just kind of the that's like the arena you're stepping into. Like it's dirty. Everyone knows it's dirty. So I'm pretty sure he kind of knew there were some risks. Maybe not,
No, he
no,
didn't. He was hiring
explicitly
no
on that day.
security. And I see people like Clav, they're
Um,
playing with fire as well. Like, for the last 6 months, it might have changed, I'm not 100% sure. I think he's hired security
well,
now, but
Club is not
he was going
political.
around
He's
with, it's still controversial fame. It doesn't matter if it's political or BP or whatever domain of controversial fame it is. If it's non-mainstream and it's controversial fame, then it's controversial fame. You're going to have these risks. That's the game you're stepping into.
yeah. I mean, sure. But I think with politics specifically, it's more cutthroat than the kick streaming scene. Like
We'll
it's
see. We'll
just
see. We'll see. Because, in 6 months' time, like, and I'm not saying that this should happen. In fact, I'll 100% say it, like, should not deserve to happen to anyone. Because I don't think anyone should be cancelled for their opinions, no matter how controversial they might be. But in 6 months' time, if we find out that Clav has been cancelled in one of the ways that we've been describing, then all I'm going to say is that it shouldn't. He should have not been afraid to know it could have happened. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah. I mean, sure, but I don't know. Like I mean, I don't know Clav personally, but I think he's pretty aware that there's risks to what he's doing. Like
I don't know.
he's
Does he?
constantly getting in physical altercations. He's getting in trouble with the law every month. Like I'm pretty sure he's aware that this is a dangerous it's got risks. But like people accept risks all the time, right? Like you know some people clean windows uh on a skyscraper that's 400 feet in the air. Like it's people accept risks in their job all the time.
Okay, but it's about risk management. And here's a statistic for you. Do you want to know the deadliest job in the United States? This is. Do you want to know statistically the
uh
deadliest job?
Enlighten me.
It's the president of the United States.
Oh, because of the assassination rate relative to
Yes.
how many presidents there's been.
Yes. No,
Interesting.
not just assassinations, but dying in any way. So, they've found every job there is and calculated the risk that you die while you're doing that job. So if you're cleaning windows from a skyscraper, okay, the risk is like relatively high. It's going to be maybe 0.5% by the end of your lifetime. But that's a really, really low risk because, there's safety equipment and yeah, the odd person might fall and die. But given modern safety, the chance of you dying in this profession is actually very low. Same with regard to other so-called dangerous jobs like building bridges or working on an oil rig. The chance of you actually dying in this job, or even the military, is very, very low. Like, not many people die from these jobs, over the course of their lifetime. But being the president, I think the chance of being killed in this job is like 5% or 10%. Because there's only been, like 50
Yeah.
presidents in America? And how many of them have been assassinated? 2 or 3? And how many people of them have been almost assassinated? Ronald Reagan got
Trump.
shot at. Trump got shot at. Like, and if these people weren't bad aim or just had better aim, then it would be like 20% of the presidents in history get killed in their lifetime. That's a magnitude that's like 20x higher than a window cleaner.
Sure.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying, that it's because they have controversial fame. If you have controversial fame,
What's the subtext of this? Is this like is this your justification for now hiding your face in your content?
yeah, that's a big part of the reason, because it always starts with near misses. It always starts with near misses, and I've had a couple situations in the past with people giving me aggro in a party or a club. The vast majority of the time it doesn't happen, and I'm sure Clav, if he was going to reflect on the last 6 months of his fame since he's been in the limelight, it's been similar. That 90 to 95% of people are happy to see you. It's like, oh hey bro, let's take a photo.
Mm.
let's shake hands, let's swap Instagram, so whatever it might be, like friendliness. But all it takes is just one person, or that 5% or 10% that causes you aggro, or starts trying to do arguments or debates with you, or in some cases starts trying to push you around. Like, it's very, very rare. It's happened to me a couple of times, but it has happened. That's the scary thing, that it has happened. And if you have these near misses where people try to just cause you small amounts of aggro, the small amounts of aggro might happen 10 times per year, but then once per year or once per 5 years, it's not just regular aggro you're going to heal the next day. They're using modern machines and modern technology, such as guns, to literally cancel you forever.
But okay, sure. Like, I believe there were like people that were mean to you IRL, but like, can't you just tell them to fuck off? Like, just talk some
Okay,
shit back and
well,
like,
okay. Tell that
what's
to the guy with the initial CK. Um, you know what I mean? Like, this is the
Come on,
trajectory
man.
that these
Like,
people are
people
leading
aren't
to.
gunning for you like CK. Come on.
All I'm saying is that when it comes to Clav, and he's probably got, like, compared to my peak, maybe like 5x more fame when I was at my peak, right? Um, he's like pretty mainstream now, and all I'm saying is that I won't be surprised if someone does do something terrible to him in the next year. I'm not saying that's going to be a good thing. I would even say that it will be a terrible, terrible thing that happens. But what I'm saying is that I won't be surprised if something like that happens. Because there's enough crazy people out there. There's plenty of crazy people in the world.
I mean, sure. But I don't know. I just like it just seems
Yeah, it's easy to
like
say that it's
I'm
far
saying
fetched.
this with
You're being the
I'm
normie.
saying this with all. I'm not okay. Yeah, sure,
You're
but
being the
that
normie.
doesn't necessarily make me a normie to say the fact that this is a rarity, and sometimes you want to take on risks like that, and it's worth it to you. The upsides are worth the downsides,
You're being the normie
in
of the
my
thing that
opinion.
I literally said 10 minutes ago, that everyone is
No,
happy
I'm
to
not
be
being a
all
normie. A
smiles.
normie is gonna say nothing bad's ever gonna happen, and I'm in La La Land. That's what a normie says. I'm saying like, yeah, like there are bad things that can happen to you, and like you have to weigh it up, and weigh up the upsides and the downsides. For me, like I can't speak for you, but for me, I have no issue with occasionally getting people being aggro to me, and it's just like, okay, sure, that's fine, but it's it's a personal judgment. It's it's up to the individual to decide, right?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that. And, you know, this is like one of the big 2 points that I wanted to talk about, and I feel we've discussed this a lot. But the second point that I want to address for like people like him, not just Clav, but all of his bum buddies as well, Androgenic and Nocturnal
Bun
Ken.
buddies.
Who are the other ones? What are these new wave
Come on,
Lux
they're
Maxes and
funny. Come on,
streamers?
we they're funny. The framework stuff, it's funny.
Yeah, right.
It's a bit of fun,
The
isn't it?
other thing, the way that they're shooting themselves in the foot, and I know that the BP community is gonna disagree with me. This is that they have basically ostracized themselves from ever getting a normal wife in the future, and I
Fair enough.
100% stand by that. 100 billion% I stand by that, and I think the reason I'm saying it with such certainty is because I've alluded to this point in a couple recent videos, and when I've made this point, there's been people in the comments saying like, "No, that's not true, bro. His looks are gonna carry him. You're only saying that because he mocks you. He's a Chad, and he can get any girl
Wait,
he
when you
wants, bro." Like, these are the kinds of normie arguments that I hear. People that are so ingrained in the BP that thinking looks are anything, and because Clav
what
is
what do you
six
mean by
foot
a normal wife?
I mean, a woman who is not a DG, and you only know what a DG is if you watch like my recent videos. But a woman who has a normal family, a normal life, a normal upbringing, and isn't living the life of the party, isn't clout chasing and has normal friends
So
and
you
normal
mean
social circle.
unpure?
I'm just talking about the type of girl where she's got maybe a couple hundred Instagram followers and she just wants a regular guy who is going to be the father of her future children to live a white picket fence lifestyle. And people like Clav and his bum buddies, they've locked themselves out of ever having that as a possibility. Not just for now, but forever. Especially Clav. And the reason is because their social acceptance is a 1 out of 10.
Well, you think like social acceptance 1 out of 10? Like, I mean, a lot of people seem to find them entertaining, at least.
When I say social acceptance, I'm talking about in the normie lens of, like,
Oh,
women.
right.
So
But who wants to be friends with normies? Who wants the normie wife? Like, that sounds like hell.
what I'm alluding to is that, um, you know, oftentimes if you want to date a normal girl, a one with a normal family and stuff like this, then if you maybe go on a date or two with her, then she's gonna tell her friends about the new guy that she's seeing, or tell her parents about the new guys she's seeing. And if it was someone like Clav who met a regular girl, like from the street, like he day gamed her, and for some reason she didn't know who he was, then okay, yeah, fair enough. She'll be happy to go on a date or two with him. But then I promise, as soon as she tells her friends or family about the new boy and shows a photo, then they will immediately say, we recognize him. He's got a bunch of this controversial opinions online.
He got
You
mocked
need
by
to
the
avoid
ASU
him.
crap leader.
Yeah, you need to avoid him like the plague. He's a massive red flag. Block him immediately. That's the reaction he would get. And BP guys would say, like, no, that's not going to happen. Girls always make excuses for Chad. That's what these BP guys are going to say, but it's not true. I promise you. Social acceptance is a real thing. And if you have really bad social acceptance, such as Clav, then that's what's going to happen. And the reason I know it's true, like, is because I don't listen to people's opinions anymore. I watch people's actions first, and then I deduce what their opinions might be. And the reason I'm certain this is true is because the people who say, like, oh, social acceptance isn't a thing, they're the same people that would hide that they have BP opinions like the plague. Like, I've been selling my new product. I'm not sure if you've seen it recently, but basically I'm making videos of people for a face rating and analysis. It's basically face rating videos. And there's two options. You can either have it private or public. The vast majority of people are buying the private option, even though it's more expensive. And now for those people that think social acceptance doesn't exist, why would they buy the private option? What do they have to protect? If social acceptance doesn't exist, if it doesn't exist in terms of your friends judging you, in terms of potential women dating you, of potential employers hiring you, if social acceptance doesn't exist, then why are these people buying the private option?
First of all, that's a crazy business model, by the way. Having a face rating and you have to pay extra not to be content in a YouTube video. That's I've never heard anything like that. But yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, they're just they're scared of negative judgment from a social circle. That's what it is, right?
Exactly.
I
So their
mean,
actions literally highlight that they believe social acceptance is a thing. Otherwise, everyone, if it's a matter of fact that BP guys, by method of their actions, are the most likely to believe that social acceptance is real. Because I've never met a group of people that are more adamant about protecting their identity, hiding it at all costs, than BP guys. I've never met a community of people that is more strict and adamant about hiding it with regard to everything. And there's even people.
I think yeah. I mean, it seems kind of I don't know. I've never really had much sympathy for that. It's just like you got one life and you can't be honest with people around you. It's so lame.
Hmm. And
Like
there's even people.
I'm totally like how I am on stream and on content and everything is identical to just chatting with me in person. It's like that with my parents. Talk to my parents same way, and I talk to girls the same way. Like it's just I think it's just it just makes your life way less stressful when you just accept people are gonna like or dislike you for your true self. I think that's just a much more relaxing way of living your life.
Yeah, I agree. I agree for the most part, and that's how I was for a very long time. But it's only recently I've started consolidating, which people and which people get to see who I am and know personal opinions of mine. Like, that's not for the whole world. That's sensitive data now. And the main reason is because even though I agree with what you said that it should be up to the individual to make an opinion for whether they like you or not. Unfortunately, that's not how most people operate or most people work. Because in theory, it would be great if, you could meet every person and be your completely true self, and the people that like you and want to keep liking you, and the people that dislike you, the ones who, dislike Marmite and don't want to meet or interact with you anymore, they can leave you to it. In a perfect world, that's how it would be. But what actually ends up happening is that the people that had potential to like you, their well gets poisoned by even just one person making a bunch of slanderous remarks about you, and then it completely ostracizes you. So you might join a new social circle where there's 20 people, and 5 of them have the potential to like you, the other 15 don't. And those 5 people might like you initially to begin with. They might show some interest. But then all it takes is one person to badmouth about you, and then all of those 20 people collectively are going to despise you and ostracize you. That's how it works in real life, and I know that's true because I've experienced it.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, it's a feminine tactic, reputation damage.
Yeah,
It's more intense with women, I feel.
it is. It's groupthink, and that's exactly what would happen to the likes of Clav. That because that's why his social acceptance is a massive issue. He's got all of this clout, and he might meet a girl, and she might even be on board with his opinions. Like, to be honest, I don't see many of Clav's opinions because his whole mantra and persona online is essentially shit shoveling. I'm yet to actually see many original content and intelligent contributions from him. To me, it just seems like a bunch of gesturing and wandering around nightclubs, making a clown of himself. But if he meets a girl who might even be on board with some of the things that he says, and maybe he meets a few of her friends as well who also agree with what he says, but all it takes is one. It could be a mother, it could be one friend that is close with her to say, nah, this guy's off, this guy's a dud, get rid of him. And BP
Okay,
guys are dumb.
but
They
this
would
is
say, oh,
the
his looks will
personality
overpower.
test.
Yeah, BP
This
guys will
is the
say that his looks will
personality
overpower.
test where, like, it. Okay, here's how it goes, right? If a girl really likes you, she'll tell people to fuck off whenever they insult you.
No, that's not
In
true,
fact,
bro.
that's a sign of a quality woman that actually likes you.
No, that
You
doesn't
know,
happen.
if her friends are bad mouthing you, uh, the onus is on her to dump her friends, or it's up to her, right? Like that's the way I view it. It's if you're gonna prioritize Becky, Becky over our relationship, then it was never a good relationship to begin with. Fuck it.
Okay, well, that only happens. In my experience, that only happens when the dating down in terms of looks is so significant that she would do anything to keep this high looks level of a guy, in spite of the controversial opinions that her friends might say about him, or even she believes about him. That's the only time I've had this, because in my experience, when I'm talking with a girl who's on my looks level, then she has to be very much in alignment with my opinions, or if she doesn't have an alignment with her opinions, or if her friends say bad things about me, she's very quick to cut me off. And the reason for that is because if she had the choice of dating a guy on her looks level who like has alignment with her opinions or doesn't have alignment with her opinions, then she's going to choose the guy who has the alignment with her opinions. She's got the options for that. Like, that's where the equilibrium is. However, for a woman who's like, I'm really dating down, who might be like 2-3 points below my level, then if she's going out with me and every girl in her whole life is saying that guy's a massive red flag, you need to get rid of him, and she might even be thinking herself that this guy is really bad, he's a toxic person, he's a red flag. She might even be thinking this herself, but she would still make it work and fight for it because she's thinking, yeah, my friends are telling me to get rid of this guy, but this is the most handsome guy that I'm ever going to get for a while. Like, and I would rather prioritize this man of this looks because he's so far above me, rather than pick the dudes that have the same opinions as me who are on my looks level. That's been my experience.
Yeah, people want, yeah, sure. I mean, I think there's some truth to that. Like, yeah, people definitely want someone that aligns with them ideologically, like to some degree, of course. But yeah, I think again, I just don't accept this frame that if if a girl's like friends or family member, is not a fan of you, then by default she has to get rid of you. The other option is that she talks shit back to them and explains why they're wrong, and in the most extreme case, just like tells them to fuck off. And in fact, I actually expect that. Like, if I'm in a relationship with a girl and she's not, you know, defending me or even joining in, trash talking me to like friends or whatever, it's over. Like, I don't even want to. I don't even want to deal with that. I'd rather just be on Tinder and sleep around and do that than deal with someone that is traitorous.
Well, I guess what I'm highlighting is that when it comes to what a woman wants in a guy, it's not all or nothing. We can say that some things are a lot more important to a woman than other things, and it might even vary by somewhat woman to woman. I think one thing that's almost universal is the vast majority of girls care about looks. And, her mentality, her desire for obtaining a certain number of looks might be really, really high. There's also going to be some other things. But at the end of the day, she's going to want to choose a guy that matches the equilibrium of what she believes is the best she can get. So what I'm trying to highlight is that let's say a woman cares about 3 different things. 70% of it might be looks. 20% of it might be a social acceptance of the guy, like, how much her friends and stuff really like him. And then 10% might be his social standing, like, his socioeconomic class. And now a woman might view herself as a 6, and she wants to make sure that the guy she's going out with reaches those 6 points. And a guy might have 6 out of 10 looks, and based on the weighting of 70%, then 6 times 70%, that's going to be like 4 points. And that guy is currently at 4 points. He still needs to get to 6. And let's say he's got 10 out of 10 social acceptance, then that means 10 multiplied by 20%, that's an extra 2 points. And now he's reached 6. But for a guy who's got no social acceptance, then he's not going to reach those 6 points, because if he's got 1 out of 10, then he's only going to reach 4 points, which isn't going to be enough to get that particular girl who was a 6. But let's say that there's a 4 out of 10 girl, and he's got maximum looks, or he's got, the same looks, and he has no social acceptance, then he's still got enough points as a whole to be able to get that 4 out of 10 girl, because even though she cares about social acceptance a lot, he's compensated enough with his superior looks that he's still been able to meet the market equilibrium to be able to keep this girl around. Like, and it's,
Sure.
this just shows that, like,
But
it's what
like,
the
okay,
BP has
but
been saying.
what's
This isn't
the
going against the BP. This is going in alignment with the BP because we've always seen those memes where it said when Chad has the most controversial opinions, then the girl is always going to stick around, no matter if he has a bad personality. Okay, yeah, that's true, to some degree. In fact, to a large degree. But it only works when he's mogging enough in terms of looks. Because if it's an 8 out of 10 guy trying to get an 8 out of 10 girl, then why would the 8 out of 10 girl choose the 8 out of 10 guy who's got a bunch of controversial opinions when she could quite as easily get the guy who's an 8 out of 10 who's normal, got high social acceptance, and got high socioeconomic class as well. She can get everything, and she's going to reject the guy with only the good looks to offer.
um I think it depends on if you want to date a normie or not, or someone, dare I say, neurodivergent. Like some people, like for me, I just couldn't fucking stand being with a normie woman. Like it was just, it would drive me insane.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
agree.
really wouldn't want to deal with that.
It
Like
depends how normie
so,
we're talking. I don't think it's in two buckets, like normie versus non-normie. Because I agree, normies drive me crazy as well. Like, they don't like me, and I don't like them. To be honest, like,
but it's a bit of a self-sorting issue. It's like, okay, let's say you've got like controversial opinions, which really is just a stand-in for opinion. Like you've got like a inner monologue. That's really what it's a stand-in for. If you have that, then don't you want to repel people that don't have that and want to attract people that do? Like, isn't this a good thing? Like, this is why I am honest with everybody I meet. It's like I want to repel people that aren't gonna like me anyway, and I want to attract people that will.
yeah, I
Whereas if
think
I'm like pretending to be like, Joe Schmo from Love Island, it's not gonna fucking work. I'm not gonna please either the normies or the neurodivergent girls that might actually like me. You feel me?
it is. But once you factor in that dating is a zero-sum game, and there's different levels of normies versus the non-normies, of men and women in different places, then it can end up just really being rigged against you. And to put examples on this, what I'm trying to say is that for the normies, in the most normie places, the most mainstream places, those are entirely rigged. Because, in all honesty, the normies aren't even up for grabs in terms of dating, getting the woman anyway. Because what is the normie opinion with regard to how the woman should spend her youth when she's a Western woman? What is a normie opinion?
Pull it up.
It's either that or I don't even see them
College and
mentioning.
work.
Yeah, I don't even see them mentioning guys in general. It's like guys should be at the bottom of the pile with regard to what you're thinking about. You're too young to be thinking about boys. Just go focus on your degree, focus on your career and education. And when I look at the normie circles, at places like a university or a college, barely any of them are actually in relationships with guys. Okay, they might be going behind with guys closed doors, potentially. That's not what I'm looking for, so your repellent argument makes sense. It's not what I'm after. But the difference is that because so many of the normies are in that non-looking for a relationship mindset, then who are the non-normies? Who are the the outsiders, the ones with the more non-mainstream opinions? In terms of the women, that might only be like 10% of the girls in the society, right? Especially in the Western societies, countries like the UK, that might be like 10% of girls. And those girls I have been able to date in the past, because those are the women who actually view men as important, want a relationship with a guy, and believe in finding a person, giving her life to a man, the same way that she believes that every man should give his life to a woman, right? That might only be 10% of girls in Western countries like the UK, but that's like 30% of guys in the same country. So now the ratios is completely skewed, and you got 30% of dudes chasing that 10% of girls. So what ends up happening is that now the women are really undersupplied and have massive competition from the guys looking for a relationship. So now the equilibrium has shifted, and the women have way more options. So they're going to be able to pick a higher level of dude. That's been my experience. Like the girls I've been out with in the past, they've been these non-mainstream types. They've had more of the, I guess you could say, conservative or like right-wing opinions. Similar to me, they don't succumb to groupthink or get upset because one of her friends heard some hurty words or some words that hurt her feelings from me, and wouldn't want to see me anymore, because that's only what normies do. Normies succumb to groupthink like that, but the non-mainstream girls aren't like that. So what I'm getting to is that now, when the equilibrium is shifted, because there's such a shorter supply of those 10% of non-mainstream girls, then now your only option as a man is to date down, because the equilibrium is shifted.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always stacked against men to varying degrees. Like,
depends on where you are.
even just
Some markets are
biologically,
more
it's
rigged than
stacked
others.
against us.
Some markets
Sure,
are more rigged than
I
others.
agree, and yeah, and part of being a smart operator is making giving yourself it's always going to be rigged against men, but like you can at least give yourself a little bit of ammunition, just a little bit, by playing your cards smart, right? Like geomaxing, looks maxing, so on and so forth. But I mean, just putting like women aside, just quality of life, I just don't think I just think like a life where you're just constantly pretending to be something you're not, and just like masking, and it just doesn't seem like a life worth living to me. It's just not. That just seems so unappealing to me. But
Yeah, I
a lot of
agree.
people do it. But I don't know.
No, I agree. Like, and I would always try to be myself, and I would never succumb to the normie system and be a faker and not standing true to what I believe, just in order to appease some women, some normie women who wouldn't even believe in relationships and giving her life to a man anyway. Because that's exactly what you see in the UK. Like, you've got the pandora men, you've got the wet wipes, you've got the men who, pretend to be full of soy to, get accepted into the normie community. But they all end up getting rejected. They all end up losing because those normie women, they don't want relationships anyway. That's not what they're looking for. So they either just stay single, or some of them go with the chads for short-time things, but they're not looking for a relationship, so no relationship happens. So you can either be one of those men suck-ups who becomes a panderer, becomes a wet wipe, and tries to appease the normie women who, are telling the world about how, women shouldn't get married or look for a guy all throughout her 20s. At best, maybe she'll think about it at 30. Those men can try and pander those women, but they'll still get rejected. It's not going to work because those women, their whole ideology is that they don't want the relationship at this moment in their life. So those men lose. Or you can be the men like us who think, actually, no, that's garbage. Let's focus on finding women and being in a community where there's only women who, or only people, both men and women, who want to build real relationships, real families, and they believe that every man should give his life to a woman and every woman should give her life to a man. But when you've got a rigged country like the UK, where there's a massive percentage of men who might have these non-normie opinions, but a tiny percentage of the women do, then now it rigs the market, and the women who want the relationships are in a short supply and have their pick of the litter. And that's exactly what you see happening in statistically as well, because there was that dating app. It was called like Date Right Stuff. It died about a year ago or something. And the reason it died is because its whole message to people, its whole ideology was, hey, we're going to like go back to the old conservative ways where people get married at a young age and have kids young and get married and live the white picket fence in the suburbs lifestyle, just like the good old American dream. That's the whole message. And what ended up happening was the ratio on the app was like 95% men, like 90% or 95%, because a lot of men heard that
Even
message
worse
and were
than
like,
Tinder.
yeah, it was massively worse than Tinder. And you know, the reason that it didn't work is because a lot of men resonated with that message of, hey, yeah, I'm ready to give my life to a woman, and I want a woman to give her life to me. But when the ratio was so skewed, then you had 10 guys, and let's just say that they were each number from 1 to 10 on the 1 to 10 scale, downloading this app, and then there's one 5 out of 10 woman who joins the app. But now that woman has got the pick of any one of those 10 guys, and who's she going to pick? Well, because the equilibrium is so rigged in her favor, she gets to pick the top guy. She gets to pick the 10.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah,
you see in the rigged markets.
The best looking guys and the guys with some niche X factor she likes. Yeah. Did you see my stream on when I made myself a female? Like I used like a AI.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Female pick of mine.
I did.
I got 1,400 likes in 6 hours.
I know.
Holy shit!
What country was that in as well?
That was at London.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, because London is one of the most rigged places I've seen in a very, very long time. And if you want to know how a place is rigged, this is what annoys me, that everyone is trying to find secret sauce of like, oh, this is the key to getting girls. And there's plenty of guys who have found this key, and you know they found this key because they're dating hot women. I'm sorry, but where are these winners? I don't see them. Especially when I walk the streets of the UK, I don't see these winners. What I see is two types of men. I see men who are complying with the equilibrium, which means they found a woman who wants to give her life to a man, but because she picked the best man that she knew she could get, then he ended up dating down by a couple of points. That's the first type of men. Or the second type of men is just, they're alone. They're just alone. They have no one. So where are these winners? Where are these men who have found this secret sauce and been able to overcome the terribly rigged odds? And there's like not all men raining from heaven, and there's plenty of women who will want it. Go for it.
The basic fact is, us as men, we're never going to beat our looks match as a woman, no matter what, in terms of SMV. It's just doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what app you use. It doesn't matter. Like the female version of you is always going to have
always
SMV.
Always mogs.
Yeah, but like we can skew it a bit closer, right? Like we can improve our odds a bit. And something that I found like really illuminating with that that female me on Tinder experiment was just how unappealing a lot of those men liking me looked. Like it was just like a sea of balding men with zero dimorphism, with no real niche appeal, nothing. Like it was just like occasionally there was like a guy that you could imagine like a girl liking. So it's like, yeah, like women have loads of like, yeah, they got the pick of the litter, but a lot of the litter kind of fucking sucks.
Okay, and I feel that's like true.
Looks maxing, you can, again, it's not, looks maxing isn't just like the soft maxing cope. It's actually pretty hard work and requires investment and surgery. You can really stand out from the litter.
Okay, that's true. In your experiment, there might have been like 80% junk. Like the men are just clearly unattractive, whether it's genetically or environmentally, their own poor life decisions and habits. 80% of them just undesirable, right? But then there's going to be 20% of marginals and aboves. So let's say 15% marginals and then 5% premium options. Look at the ratios. If you've got like over 1,000 matches, as you said, that's still like 200 marginal guys to deal with. So in terms of the ratios, those marginal guys are going to think like, oh, this woman is on my level, I'm going to send her a message. And you as the woman might consider that. But when you as a woman still have 200 inbound marginal options, even ignoring the 800 junk options, there's still 200 marginal options. And let's say like 20 to 30 premium options that you're going to be picking out of. And you're going to pick one of the premium guys.
Yeah.
So all of the dudes...
the only way not to get destroyed on a dating app as a man is to either be at least the six. That's just like the start of the asymptotic chart, right? Like where it just curves up exponentially. Six is where that starts, right? And seven is way better. Eight is obviously like leagues and bounds above that. But so like there's that. Or also just being some sort of niche, right? Like niche appeal, right? And yeah, like I feel like it's super rigged against us, but there's work you can do. Like you can do shit. Like you can solve your receding chin. You can get a genioplasty. You can sort out the orthodontics. You can get a Bimax. You can do this, that, and the third. And again, it's not easy. Like, this isn't like none of this is what no like these TikTok teenagers wants to hear. They want to hear you can do some bullshit facial exercise. But I'm not, as I said, I'm not. I don't like being dishonest with people. A lot of people need fucking surgery to correct their flaws. I did. I'm not talking shit. Like I've still got surgeries, to go, right. But I feel like every man should give like a real solid shot at improving his looks and like a real intelligent, non-copy way.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
think a lot of guys can get to a six.
Okay, there's some things there. So some things are cope looks maxing, obviously, and some things aren't cope looks maxing. And when you've got non cope looks maxing, I think guys should do it. It can help. But to be honest, like, I've kind of gone off looks maxing recently. I think that the reason is because, first of all, 80% of it is just being lean and protecting your hair. None of this squint maxing cope stuff and all of the BS methods that you hear promoted online now. This has a marginal impact at best, and it's not going to help you. But even if, assuming you do all of these crazy extra looks maxing stuff, you're still going to be swimming in the swamp. Like, what's the point of being locked in, going in monk mode for the longest time to try and make micro improvements to your attractiveness, going from a
I don't know.
5.5 to a 5.7, according to some AI
I
app,
don't know.
just so you can go back to swimming in the swamp? Like, you could get way more attention and opportunities today if you just didn't choose a swamp, because that's what it is like in UK.
But
You're
okay, but
improving your
looking
looks to
at
go
the
swimming
guys
in the
that,
swamp.
but okay, but when I did my experiment, I was looking at the pictures of these guys. A 6 out of 10 was really fucking rare. Like it like out of like the fucking thousand, like the amount of guys that were like 6 out of 10 plus were pretty fucking rare.
Okay,
Like,
well,
and again,
I've had a
I
different
think,
experience, because when I've done my own Tinder experiments of an average woman on an app, then yeah, most of the dudes are junk, but I didn't even match with those dudes. I was only swiping on dudes that I thought were at least looks matches or higher. And after the first
but
day,
wait.
there were like 20
Did
freaking
you
dudes. Go ahead.
did you get premium so you could see who
No.
liked you?
No, yeah, and I say that's the difference, because I watched your video, you bought the premium version, so you could look at the people that have liked you, right? But that's just
Yeah.
background noise. Like, if you don't buy premium, you're automatically filtering out the 80 to 90% of junk options. So if you just look at the matches feed, the way that I did my Tinder experiment, is that I was automatically swiping left on all of the junk. They might swipe right on me, but they would end up in the hidden section, which you can only access through premium. So I was only swiping on the dudes that were at least looks matched to the girl or higher. And then after the first day, there were like 20 freaking dudes. 20 dudes. A bunch of them, some were even premium. I think it was like 3 or 4 were premium. And the rest were like at least marginal, who were sending loads of messages. The ratio is still skewed, right? So, there might be one of those marginal dudes who had put in the effort, went from like a 4 to 5. So he's now gone from the position of not matching with the girl to now being in a position of matching with the girl and still getting ignored. So you're still swimming in the swamp. You've looks maxed to go from invisible to getting ignored. That's what it means to looks max nowadays. If you're in a rigged market, you can looks max to go from being completely invisible to now getting ignored after you match and send a couple messages.
What you think a 6 out of 10 couldn't like sleep with girls from dating
You
apps?
can sleep with them, but sleeping with a girl is quite easy. All it takes is a lot of luck and timing, having a lot of exposure, and having a lucky micro market. Because there are some nights you go out in the UK where, or sometimes you download a dating app and you just catch a woman at the right time. You're the most good-looking guy for now in her inbox that she's matched with, and you're able to escalate things pretty quickly with her. So it's and over the course of a year, if you're a 6 out of 10, that can easily happen 10, 20 times. Just because that's how the exposure and luck and timing can work. If that's your looks level, right? But because the macro equilibrium in the market is rigged, then she realizes that in the long haul that she can get the best option of dude. And people have actually they've even done studies on this, that when it comes to short-term partners, they actually tend to look worse from the woman's perspective compared to who she eventually ends up in a relationship with, right? Especially when she's young. And a lot of BP guys think it's the opposite, because they think, oh, a woman's gonna settle for less if she thinks that the guy can offer a relationship, right? But that's not how it works in the real world. And they've done studies on this because, when a woman is choosing a guy for just a one-time thing, then oftentimes it's just about who's available, who can satiate my needs the quickest. I don't care what it is. It's the same difference as, like, if you're really, really hungry as a man, you're just gonna walk through town, go to the first place that sells food because you're just trying to maximize the speed and efficiency of it rather than picking the best possible choice, right? And that's how it works for when women choose a short-term guy. So, as a guy, you can beat the equilibrium if it's only a one-time thing. It's pretty easy to get with a girl just once when it's a one-time thing, or even a girl above your level from a one-time thing. That's pretty easy to do. But to have a girl for a long-time relationship, it means you need to be her best possible option, full stop. And if you're not her best possible option, full stop, she's going to pick the best possible option, full stop, and it's not going to be you. And when the market's rigged, when the equilibrium is, above you, then the 5 out of 10 woman is going to pick the 7 out of 10 guy, because she knows that's the best possible guy she can get for the relationship.
Someone in chat says, no, he can't. 6 out of 10 isn't getting anything. That's such
What?
bullshit. Like 100% you can sleep with girls on dating apps as a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, you can sleep with
Like,
girls
100%.
above your looks level from dating apps as a 6 out of 10, but she definitely won't want a relationship with you. Like, it's very easy, actually. If we zoom out and look over the course of a year, if you're a 6 out of 10 guy, you should be able to go with a 7 at least once, just from the sheer exposure and luck that you would be able to have. Because exposure and luck on a dating app, it's the same as dealing yourself poker hands. Like, if you play poker 365 days in a row and deal your cards every time, you're eventually going to deal yourself a royal flush or quad aces, right? It's eventually going to happen. And it's going to be extremely rare, but when the luck and timing is a big enough of a sample and you only have to win it at once, then that's what can end up happening. And I know it's true that if you're a 6, it's over the course of a year, just from the amount of luck that you're able to generate from exposure, you can eventually get lucky and find one woman who's above your looks level. It is possible, and it happens. But you're not going to be able to get that woman for a relationship. No way. Relationships is strictly equilibrium compliance.
Yeah, whether I'm whether I meet a 6 out of 10 or below a 6, that's debatable. People can make up their own mind about that. But even I can, it's rare, but like I can hook up with a girl on a dating app in London. Like it can happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it's very easy.
yeah,
it's very easy. Like, it might be hard to
Yeah,
do
I feel
tonight.
like people. I don't know if you agree with this, Wheat, but I feel like people in this space really overestimate how good looking the average guy is. I think it's. I think people have such a. They're in such a fucking bubble being in the looks maxing space that they think every fucking guy, every Uber driver, every just dude, every guy is this like is this tall guy with abs and he's got dimorphic facial features and it's no he's not. Absolutely not. Like it's so like the competition you're up against as men are guys barely putting in any fucking effort. Like it's just the average guy, his idea of looks maxing is using a 3-in-1 shampoo. Okay, it's a shampoo, it's a body wash, and it's a drain cleaner. It's 3-in-1. That's his idea of looks maxing. Like you're up against such shit competition, and I feel like even if you're like if you have below average genes, like as your starting point, I feel you can mug the average guy if you actually do non-cope looks maxing. I really do think you can. Again, there's like a lot of caveats to that. There's a lot of caveats to that. But like if you have like a shit eye area or a shit jaw, there's lots of stuff you can do surgery wise for that.
Hmm.
And you can eventually mug a average guy. I think it's totally possible.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
Wait,
for
why? Okay, let's talk. Like, why don't you do any cosmetic surgeries?
um, I just don't think that the ROI for what I could potentially do would be that good. Especially because I think one of the important principles of surgeries is that you should only try to improve your junk features to average rather than make any average features premium, right? And for me, I've got the flaws I have, they're nearly all. It's just because there's a lot of average features. I have zero junk features, literally zero. I've not got a really big
Um,
nose. I've not got eyes that are cooked. I'm not a Norwood 3. My jaw isn't cooked. I've got zero junk features. So
I looked at your picture and something that came to mind, um, like something I noticed is you have again I'm not saying this like be mean. Like, it's just like this is the space we're in. We always talk about other people's looks. I think it's fair to critique our own looks as well, right? I think something that would ascend you is fat grafting to your bottom lip, to
what is that?
your uh to your bottom lip,
I
to
don't know what that
your
is.
you don't know what fat graft is. It's fat grafting is when you take fat cells, usually from your abdomen, and you place them in, well, in this case, parts of your face. So let's say you got like thin lips, you can take fat cells from your abdomen, put some in your lips, and now you have non-thin lips, right?
Right. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I
So
would do that to your bottom lip. I would also move some fat cells to your infraorbital and um, yeah, because I feel like you got a bit of a hollow eye issue. I think that could really help your ass out.
Hmm. Yeah, but the thing is, like, as those features you just mentioned, even if they are flaws, right, that I still think that they're marginal problems right now. Like, there's no junk issue I have. Like, the only times I recommend surgery to guys is if he's like a Norwood 3 and, he's just not been taking care of himself or his hairline. He's not been on finasteride. I'm just telling him, like, look, you got to go get a hair
But
transplant and you got to get on finasteride. Go get a Norwood 1. And when you're a Norwood 1, then now you're going to see a massive difference in terms of how you're treated.
well, the thing with facial appearance is that it's asymptotic, right? Like you correct some of these objective flaws in isolation. They don't seem like a big deal, but they start to add up. Your facial harmony starts to get better. Your health indicators start to get better. It's just like it just gets asymptotically better. So yeah, sure. Like what I'm saying doesn't sound like it would be like revolutionary, but like you combine that with something else, and like it just adds up, and who
Okay,
knows? Maybe we could get Chad Light wheat waffles.
okay, I get it, but I still think it goes back to the point of like you're doing all of this improvement to go back to swimming in the swamp. Like, and this is what I see is extremely common. And you know that your market is rigged when you see the lengths and extremities that dudes go for so-called looks maxing is to the extreme degree, and they still get rejected. Because let's face it, what are the most rigged markets in the world? Places like Miami, right? Places like LA. This is where there's plenty of jacked up on steroids dudes who have like, got perfect Tinder and Instagram profiles, try to optimize every single aspect of looks and status that they can, bought fake followers so they can have like the blue check mark and all of this garbage, and then they still struggle, they still get rejected like tons. But meanwhile, you go to some small town in America, in the Midwest, where it's a religious community, there's dudes who have not even heard of looks maxing, who are even like 20% body fat, and they're just dating a normal, attractive girl, above average girl, with zero entitlements, right? That's what it means when you're not swimming in the swamp. You're swimming in clean, nice, pleasant water, a beautiful ocean where there's great fish available. But when you're swimming in the swamp, it doesn't matter how good the bait you can put on the end of your fishing rod is. Because that's what looks maxing is. You're trying to improve the product when the options available are not even there and not even wanting to, go out with you. Because girls in Miami, they pretty much just care about themselves, or if they do want a guy, it needs to be a dude who's at least 2-3 points higher than herself. Because that's how rigged the equilibrium is. So what you end up seeing is these dudes, they take looks maxing to the extreme degree, but they don't realize that they've taken looks maxing to the extreme degree just so they can then go back to swimming in the swamp.
Swimming in the swamp. Well, if you go from a 5 to a 6, I wouldn't say you're swimming in the swamp anymore. I again, like
You are if
I
you live in a
think
country like the UK, or if you live in a country like the UK, or if you live in a place like Miami. It's actually crazy.
even in UK, like
UK
there's
is
so
rigged as
much.
hell,
Like
bro.
the average guy is. So okay, so the existence of the Love Island phenotype in the UK, that's what you're worried about. Because I feel that's even rare, and maybe those guys are like 6 out of 10. But let's just say the average Love Island guy is a 6 out of 10 guy, right? Now, what do they have going for them? Well, they have a pretty good genetic starting point. A lot of them are really into soft maxing, so they put in, a league more in terms of effort into their appearance than the average guy. Um, and again, like sure, like they date women that these Essex bimbos, right?
It's
They get
always
access
below
to
their
that,
level.
right?
It's
And
always
oh,
below
they're
their
just
level.
sixes.
No, but bro, like I lived in the UK my whole life. I've walked the streets. Vast majority of couples I see, even the looks maxed guys, they still end up having to date down.
When we're taking away makeup.
Even with the makeup.
Hmm.
Even with the makeup. And I've seen enough of those couples. And this is why I think that when you've been in rigged versus non-rigged markets, it changes your perspective so much. Because people are very naive in the respect that they only know what they've seen in their life. And when you've lived in one place your whole life, then you think that, oh, it's like this everywhere in the world. This place that I'm living right
Yeah.
now, the rules of the dating market, it's like that everywhere, right? But until you've actually moved and spent time dating in a different location, you will be shocked just how much the difference in dating market riggedness can shift from one place to another. But 95% of the dudes who are watching this stream probably haven't spent more than a month out of their place that they were born. And I say that with certainty.
Yeah.
Like, vast majority of guys, they've not even tried any amount of geo. Like, even just, spending 30 days in a different country just to see if they can get different options.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I've never, I've never not acknowledged the fact that when I'm in Southeast Asia, my Tinder match is like at least 10x, right? So
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
I feel like the big two, right? The big two is geomaxing and looks maxing. That's the big two. That's the real non-cope.
Oh, I'd say
This is
exposure as
actually going
well.
to
Looks, market, and
exposure.
exposure. Big
What's
three.
exposure as in like literally just going out to cold approach or buy Tinder
Yeah,
boosts?
either
Is
active
that what you mean?
exposure or passive exposure. Passive exposure is
Mm.
dating apps, obviously, because once you set up the profile, it takes 20 minutes and then boom, you get matches flooding in. But active exposure, I think, can be quite effective as well. Like if you just are a guy who, goes to parties once per week, you have a bit of a social circle, or you just have one or two friends that you can go out clubbing with, once per Saturday, then the amount of extra chances you have is night and day compared to if you spend
Yeah,
all your time just sat at home. Like the 6 out of 10 guy who goes clubbing every Saturday with a couple of his guy mates, he's gonna have 100 times better dating life. In fact, infinite better dating life than the Chad who just sits at home playing video games on a Saturday night. Like that's just a fact of it. Unless the Chad is generating passive exposure with a dating app, then yeah, he's gonna have good success. But a lot of guys they have no exposure. Like um, they're on the apps, but the apps are rigged and they only cater for minimum 6 out of 10s and above. In terms of active exposure, they're relying on like the four girls who already gave D tier choosing signals in their university class, and then they're waiting until the next year that they start a new class, and then hopefully there'll be four new girls that will give them D tier choosing signals, or they're working at the same job for the last 6 years, and they're waiting for the new girl to get hired in 6 months' time, who will also give D tier choosing signals. And then they wait another 6 months until the next girl gets hired and gives D tier choosing signals. Like that's
yeah.
most guys' form of
Agree.
active exposure.
I suppose I agree. Yeah, sure. Yeah, exposure. Yeah, that can be the big three.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've just found in my own life that looks maxing has had like a reasonable big impact. It got me from like invisible to occasionally getting success, but then exposure that like really made a big leap because once you've got decent looks and you improve your exposure, then just the amount of chances you get is just so much higher. Because even if the stick rate is crap and it's 99% rejections, if your exposure is 1,000, then you've still got 10 opportunities, right? Because 1% of 1,000 is 10, yeah? So
Mm.
exposure can really help. But then I think realizing the difference of changing one market to another, that was like the silver lining. That was where you realize, actually, I don't need to deal with the marginal treatment from girls who are below my looks level. I can be in a place where there's girls on my level who are more attractive who give premium treatment. Like that was the silver lining for me.
Do you think, another thing is, I feel like with looks maxing, another thing that I don't think the space talks about enough is just general treatment improves. Like, forget women for a second. Like, just like general, like day to day interactions and treatment. It's just people are just nicer to you. They're more likely to believe, good things about you. And the inverse is true. Like, I remember, like, when I was like, uh, this neckbeard, like really fat guy in high school. Like it just sucked. Like everyone just like thinks less of you. Everyone just like has like an immediate like I'm above you in the social hierarchy. It just fucking
Yeah.
sucked.
Apart from the
It
other
just fucking
neckbeards.
sucked.
In the neckbeard hierarchy, you'd actually have a better chance.
What then the short scrawny guy?
No, is in
I
like
suppose.
my friend, right? He's like in really good shape. He's like jacked. He's quite based and you know clearly like done looks maxing and stuff. And he's in this computer science class, and he approached these neckbeard, like nerd dudes, basically, and they just gave him junk treatment from the first sentence out of his mouth because they just know he doesn't belong, right? So I think that sometimes
And
like being niche max in the right communities can help a lot with regard to looks.
sure. I just think that's like I wish someone explained that to me when I was in high school. Like I wish someone broke it down in a way that I could or you could when when I was going to high school in the early 2000s. Like I wish someone explained it to me because normies never explain shit. Everything is just like intuitive to them, right? But
Yeah,
like they don't really know how to talk to someone like me. And like that's kind of like part of like why I make content, right? Like I'm talking to my own kind, right?
yeah, I
And
agree.
I'm putting things in the way they relate to.
I think with these normies is that it's one of two things. They either lie on purpose or they are just completely oblivious. It's got to be one of the two. Because when it comes to getting accepted in these normie social circles, I'll say in order the most important things. And in fact at the top of the list, they're pretty much non-negotiable or just like extremely you know, like important and give you massive boost. One is be attractive. Like if we just reduce the question down to your chance of being invited to like a college party, one is be attractive. Number two is be a woman. Woman's always going to get a high chance if they just show up at the door to say, "Hey, I heard this party's going on. Can I come in?" They've got a way higher chance than some dude. And also, being the pheno that is most common in the pheno range of the community. Because people always have an in pheno preference, that's just facts. Being a similar age, being hygienic and normally presented, not from like a cuckoo community or someone who seems that they're not a normie. So you basically just gotta like appear like as normie as possible to have this opportunity.
Hmm. I mean, sure. Sure, but I kind of like my suspicion is if I had the exact same personality as I was when I was in high school, but I looked good, like I had like the looks level I have now, I think I would just have a totally different life experience, even with the same fucking personality. Because I don't even think you can change personality, to be quite honest. Like I think it's mostly genetic. Um, but yeah, it just I just think men really underestimate it. They just underestimate the halo effect so much, and nobody really nobody really explains it.
Yeah, with regard to personality, I think it is mostly genetic as well. But I would say it's easier to not do stuff rather than to do stuff that's like harmful. Because I think people's personality is like really broad and can have lots of components to it. But some things are just destroyers of acceptance, or it's just way higher chance of you getting rejected from a certain community or by rejected by a girl, right? So it's not about what you do. Oftentimes, it's about what you don't do.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, normies are like bloodhounds for smelling differences. But the thing is, I think normies kind of like I guess ND people to some degree. I think like even normies get bored of normies. Like, why do you think Clavicular has so many people watching him? He's not a normie by any means, but like normies seem to be totally transfixed by him. I think that's
I
a bit
think
of
it's
a
just like a bunch
paradox
of
where,
16-year-olds like who have way too much time on on their hands.
but it's not no, it's not just the six. Yeah, there's the 16-year-olds, but all the people fucking talking about Clavicular all the fucking time in like circles that aren't 16-year-old edgy boys. Like the amount of coverage, the free PR and coverage that people have given Clavicular is unbelievable.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
and I think it's at the expense.
I think this is a bit unintuitive, but I think even normies aren't that interested in other normies. Like imagine starting a YouTube channel and all you had to say is you watched the game last Sunday, you went out with your mates, and yeah, that was cool. Yeah, that's the video, guys.
Hmm.
See you next video. Like that channel would be fucking dead, right? It'd be fucking dead. So I do think like it's a bit of a paradox where like normies are actually kind of interested in people that they perceive as weird.
Hmm.
So I
Well,
don't think it's a social death sentence to not be a normie. Like I don't think so.
I think that when you're a normie, that a lot of it is just having the willingness to suck up to people. Because what a lot of people ignore about normie communities, normie pyramids, well, I think a pyramid is a better way to describe it because you always get this hierarchy structure that, and it's hard to see it as an outsider because if you see like 8 people who are friends in like a university class or, just out and about like at a bar or whatever, then they all look like they're equal, right? Because they're all part of that pyramid. But from the inside, I promise you, there's like, the one or two guys at the top who call the shots and decide what's going on. And if those 2 people don't show up, then the rest of the group won't even have shown up to
Yeah,
this
the
occasion, right?
henchman
Yeah,
theory.
yeah, they're henchmen, right?
Henchman theory.
And then the rest are just tag-alongs, right? Or there's the one who's like a junk tier looks, who's got bad looks, and he's there to be the jester, like the clown that people just insult, right? Or they just feel bad for him, and he was invited out of pity, or because he begged to join. Just be like, oh guys, let me come. But for outsiders aren't able to see this. Like that's how it often is in these normie circles. That it's a pyramid structure, and if you're a tag along, then your whole purpose of being there is to not question anything, to just suck up to the people that make all of the decisions.
I want. There's some people in chat saying that no, they don't love Clav. They like his fame and money. Yeah, but how did he get the fame? Like, it's because normies to some degree found him interesting.
I think
It's
a
like
lot of it was just spam from the algorithm as well. Like he's got 100 Sados who watch every second of his stream, clip farming his
dude, he's
interesting moments.
interesting. He's entertaining. It's like. I mean, why are we coping so much? Like, it's like he's an interesting guy. Like that's really it. Like, isn't that Occam's razor? Like, why do we all like this happens often whenever like a streamer like pops off, everyone comes up with all these theories about why he's not as popular as people think, and oh, he's view botting, oh, it's this, it's that. It's like, come on, like at a certain point you just gotta default to Occam's razor. The reason why people are interested in Clavicular is because he's interesting. That's it.
Okay, that's fair enough, but I also think that it's a matter of like the brightest stars burn the quickest because the streamers that were hot 5 years ago, like their season in the sun, what are they even relevant now? Today? Especially when their whole personality is just being a clown on a stream. Like there was that one guy who used to be like
A
a
lot of them
gaming
are like,
YouTuber. Who was that guy that used to be a gaming YouTuber? With the frizzy hair, like really long. I forgot what he was
Quibble
called.
Cop.
Yeah, Quabblecop. That's right.
Yeah, that's
I
crap.
checked.
It's
I checked his
nonsense.
view counts like a few months ago, just out of curiosity. I was like, "What
It's
happened to
over.
this dude?" And he's getting like 300 views per video. And back in the day, he was getting like 1 million views. But your season in the
Yeah.
sun lasts like a year because when you're a jester, jesters are so replaceable, man. It's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
there's always going to be a new jester to replace a new jester. But like when you're and I'm not blowing smoke up my ass here, but I think that me and you are the type of people where, like, we've got a more unique grounding. Like, we've got a more defined image about where our place is in the community and who our community is. Like, we're not just the next jester like Quabblecop, who is extremely replaceable. And when it comes to Clav, like, when he gets cancelled, and I think it's a matter of when he gets cancelled, not a matter of if he gets cancelled. Or if, like, people just move on to the next jester. Like, when that happens, then he's going to be forgotten about, and the next jester is going to be there to take his place.
Well, I think yeah. I mean, I think with content creators, like if the content you make is derivative, then yeah, you are replaceable,
What does
100%.
derivative mean?
But derivative as in like it's something that a chat gpt prompt could do, like for instance, like if you were making like a video about uh top 10 most hated champions in League of Legends, like if you're making content like that, then yeah, you're on the fucking chopping block for to be replaced by another human or AI, right? But if your content is actually unique and it's not derivative from something else, then you can actually stand the test of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's a big element of that, but there's also a big element of just jesters are extremely replaceable. Because you got to remember that, like, the jester community, the jester
But
creators,
who's like Clavicular? I don't
he's
know
a
anyone
jester,
like Cloud.
bro. Like, there's always going to be the next jester to replace Clav. Anyone, like, okay, HS Tiki Toki was like basically doing what Clavicular did like 2 years ago, right? That's what HS Tiki Toki used to do. Like, just going out in the world, streaming for 6 hours, doing gambling. That's what he was literally doing, that business model,
But isn't he
identically,
still
right?
popular now?
I think he is, but what I'm saying is that the momentum change. It's like a new world order, right? That, one star rises, the next one, and then it falls, and the next one comes. And the transition
Yeah,
doesn't
I
happen
completely
instantly, but
agree.
it's like there's going to be momentum, and the momentum shifts until you eventually your momentum crashes so hard that now you're into irrelevancy. And like HS Tiki Toki, I'm pretty sure he was like well more popular back in the day, but now a new jester has risen to the throne. It's Clav, and everyone's talking about him now. But give it 6 months, or even like 1-2 years, and the next jester is gonna prop up.
I don't know. I think you're being a bit too harsh to Clavicular. I wouldn't describe him as a jester. I think he's got some interesting things to say on top of the the shock content for clipping. Like I think he's I think he's an interesting guy.
Oh, come
I
on!
don't
Like,
think
I
he's
think 90% of his output is slop. Like, it's just clip farmed stuff, slop uploaded to TikTok. Um, and he gets popularity based on fame. But eventually, the snow. Like, let's be realistic for a second. If he wasn't already famous and a lot of the clips were just being uploaded of him, they would think like, oh, he's just the next wannabe uh, big timer, right? And maybe there'll be like 10 views on TikTok on like him going out with his mate that he's streaming at a club for, and they'll be like, actually, what is this content? I'm just watching some random guy jester at a club. Like, I don't see anything special about that. But because he's already famous, then that makes it special, right?
people were interested in him in the forums days on looksmax.org. Like people found him interesting then, his content, his posts.
I just think,
Again, like I think the only real safety you have is like as a content creator, the only fucking safety net you have is actually being interesting. That's it. Like
okay, but
if you're
even if you're
just
interesting,
dime a dozen,
interesting people
go
still
on.
die. I think that no one is safe. Like, there's some things that you can do to mitigate it or try and stand the test of time a bit more. But like, it is a very cutthroat, very shifty, very fast moving industry, and it's extremely rare. It's absolutely the exception that someone stays relevant for more than 5 years. That's it's definitely not the rule, right? And like, because you got to remember that these creators, anyone who's got famous, like, their downfall is always entropy. Like, you're always going to be losing your fame at a rate, and people move on to new stuff. Like, entropy is always the trajectory for people, and they might have big upswings initially when they're all hype and everyone's talking about them, but eventually the entropy is going to come in and people move on to other things, because this is how TikTok, and especially TikTok, but YouTube to some degree, is built, that people are in a stimulated sense and they're always trying to move on to the next thing. They're always trying to move on to the next topic or next person to talk about, the next gossip. So you can't. It's very difficult to stay relevant for a long time because eventually people want to move on to the next thing that is interesting. Okay, I'll put it this way: for next year,
Sure,
when
but
Clav has
if you
been
make good
paid to go to a
content, you
club
make
for
good
the
content,
100th
right?
time, he's been paid to go to a club for 100th time, and he then hops on the stream at his house to play gambling for the 100th time next year. Do you really believe that as many people are going to be watching that? They're going to be like, oh, but we've already seen him go to a club and jester in front of some normies. We saw that last year. We saw him do that 20 times in a row. So why would I even watch that anymore?
Okay, sure. Online content creators can have ups and downs in their popularity. Sure, but in terms of I'm not really sure what we're getting at here. Is it that that you think Clavicular is just a flash in the pan?
I think he is. And the only time you're not a flash in the pan is if you own the media. Because Clav is just a guest of the media, and most people are guests of the media. And when you're a guest of the media, then you have a big upswing until you've burnt through everything, and then there's nothing else to do anymore. Because everyone who gets some stardom, they eventually get interviewed by Piers Morgan, they go on Diary of a CEO, they get interviewed by Chris Williamson. Eventually, you've burned through all 30 different people that there are to do podcasts for. And you only get one chance at that, and then you fall into irrelevancy. But someone like Piers Morgan, he's been famous for decades, right? His career has literally spanned decades because he's got the show that the guests of the media want to come on, and they will go on Piers Morgan, and then Piers Morgan's business model is always going to be safe because the guests of the media are going to come and go, and they're always going to want to be on Piers Morgan. That's going to work now, it's going to work in 5 years' time. He doesn't need to rely on his own fame because he's relying on other people's fame, and he automatically floats to the top one, picks the top dog.
Like a boomer Joe Rogan.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it works. Clav, I think he's, even though he's at the top at the moment, he's not going to be in a year's time because eventually you've already burnt through all of the different interviewers and podcasters that you can possibly do, and you're irrelevant after that.
The thing is that good content stands on its own.
Okay, but where's this good content? Is there a catalog that he has where he's got?
Well,
I'm not being funny, but my videos, I'm still getting
Mona Lisa, but
I'm still getting 10,000
okay.
views a day. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check it, but I know it's at least 5,000 views per day on videos, not shorts views, which are burn quick and you upload a short, it becomes irrelevant 5 minutes later. I'm talking about videos I've uploaded years ago. They're still getting plenty of views. And that's because there's a catalogue where people can find a unique perspective and ideology. But I don't see any catalogue that Claver's got. His shorts, okay, yeah, they get 1 million views that he uploads per day. But then in 6 months' time, maybe 10 people are watching that same short because it's just buried at the bottom of some spam TikTok channel that, there's 100 different clip farmers uploading crap for.
Well, okay. Well, now we're talking about evergreen content versus topical. But
yeah, and he's topical. He's topical
with Clavicular. If I was an edgy teenage boy again, I'd love watching Clavicular streams. I know it's not the classiest shit, having a bunch of women and cold approaching and getting in physical altercations in a Miami nightclub and all that bullshit. I know it's not classy. I'm not saying that, but for what it is, there's a fucking audience for it, 100%. And that content,
yeah, the audience is fickle. The audience is fickle. They always move on to the next thing. Like, okay, have you ever heard of that quote
Maybe.
in YouTube space? They said that, like, by the time Joe Rogan has started talking about it, then the ship has already sailed, or like it's about to sail, right? You know, and this same
You know
happened with
what?
Bitcoin. Like when Bitcoin peaks
Hold
at
on.
like £100,000, and now Joe Rogan is talking about it's going to be the future. That's the exact moment that it crashes.
I think you're a flash in the pan if you have nothing interesting to say. If there's nothing interesting about you, I
Okay,
feel like Clav does have some interesting
Name
stuff.
three things that Claver said that have been interesting.
Things he said that's been interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he talks about why he wants to get surgery, and he openly admits it. It's pretty unusual for a young man to do that. That's very outside the norm. He got he got kicked out of college for looks maxing steroids. That's a pretty interesting origin story. Um, he's he lived with his grandma, and like I don't know what happened. I don't know about his family life, but again, there's interesting stuff about him.
Hmm.
He looks like he'd be on Love Island, but he talks like he talks like he plays Dota 2. Like it's pretty interesting.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. Like, I'm not hating or anything. I'm just giving my honest take of like I'm trying to be objective about where I think his trajectory is, and I think that like whether the question is like he's going to be relevant in a year's time and still getting the same amount of exposure across multiple platforms that he is now, I think the answer is more leaning towards no than yes. So if I was him, like I would. It's great that he's making good money for his time, but he's not going to be making that same money forever. So I would take the money while he's got it now, because then at least
Mm.
when when you're earning that amount of money, the money can last forever. Like the dumbest thing that you could do, which so many celebrities do, is they see that they're making 1 million a month or 1 million per 2 months, and they think, oh, I can spend 1 million a month. But in 2 years' time, when the ship is starting to sink and they're not getting anywhere near as much attention and the momentum is dropping now, then the money coming in goes down significantly. But now they're already used to that extremely expensive lifestyle. It happens all of the time for these celebrities, but there's some intelligent ones who park that money in the bank, invest it properly, put it in shares, put it in stocks, put it in property, and then now you've got money to be able to last you potentially your whole life if you do it correctly and if you made enough.
Yeah. Mm. I feel like we haven't really gotten into the pros and cons of the BP going more mainstream.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
thinking about that. Yeah, well, that's the thing about these streams is that they aren't like the most serious thing, and
it's
it's
yeah,
not about like
it's
perpetual
free
value.
form.
It's more just freeform and like people who want to listen to something in the background. They hear nuggets of interesting stuff. That's why the most serious content I like save for videos, and then this is kind of just talking about this, that, and the other.
Aesthetics is right, but not really right about Clav. He is not a philosopher. His thoughts aren't unique. They're watered down and it's just mainstream in the moment. Okay,
Yeah, I
sure,
agree
but
with that.
like to just okay, sure, maybe some of the things would be considered water on looksmax.org, but it's not water to Piers Morgan's audience. It's not water to some average guy at high school in 2026. It's not
Look,
water.
calling clavicular edgy or non-mainstream is the same as the people who call Nigel Farage far right. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't know about that.
I think it is because like to normies, the Overton window is all they see. And okay, yeah, like I'd say Clav is at the edge of the Overton window, but he's still in the Overton window, right? Like because he's at the edge of the Overton window, then you're still technically in the mainstream domain, and you're gonna have a lot of exposure. But think about all of the space that's outside of the Overton window. Like, if you really dig deep into the rabbit hole of the BP, and I don't think I'm mainstream. Well, first you're going to find me, and I'm definitely not in the Overton window. You're going to find other creators like Rehab Room who aren't in the Overton window as well, but they're probably more extreme than Clav, right?
Um, it depends on how you interpret it, but okay.
Well, yeah, what I'm saying is that normies, they're only ever looking within the domain of the Overton window. Like, and that's why politically there'll be people that think Nigel Farage is far right because he's, at the edge of the Overton window, but he's still in the window. Like, think about all of the people that are outside of him, like further right than him. There's probably loads.
Yeah.
If you actually like read about this stuff or watch videos on it, and like that's how it is with Clav. Like, according to the mainstream, like according to the Overton window, Clav is like the face of the BP, face of looks maxing. He's the guy that thinks like looks maxing is everything, and everyone needs to bone smash and squint max and do all of this jester stuff. Like, but they don't realize just how far the rabbit hole goes. There's like way more, and for people that are within the BP community, they view Clav in a completely different light compared to the normies, because the normies view him as extreme. The normies, like the mainstream society, views him as extreme, but the people that actually are within the BP community, they just view him as diluted shit shoveling for 16-year-olds who have got way too much time on their hands.
I don't know. That's a bit harsh.
I think
I
that's how
found
it is.
some of his
It was even that comment.
back in the
You
Looksmax
literally
sort of
read out a
old
comment
days,
5 minutes
some
ago.
of his posts were quite good.
Okay, but you've even read a comment from someone who's watching this 5 minutes ago that said they think Clav is just diluted for the masses. And, he's not like a philosopher type, right? You read out that comment. And I'm sure that's how a lot of other people in this community feel. That, like, Clav, he's just brought a bunch of normies into the space who have diluted the community and they've made it worse.
The thing is, though, it's like there's like I feel like to most people, looks maxing is just a meme, right? Like it's not something to be taken seriously, right? And again, I really question, like, this is a bit of like a debate that was raging on the forums for a while, which is should looks maxing be gate kept or not? And I think a lot of people have this is like a very common mental flaw that people have where they assume everybody else has their brain. They assume everybody else thinks like they do. And if they just get exposed to the same information they did, then they'll turn out the same. I think a lot of people assume that talking about looks maxing or the BP is just going to lead to a society where all these guys are going to get Bimax and everyone's going to become a Chad Light, and then what's the point of the advantage? And now it's even harder to date.
No,
And
that's so dumb.
unironically, a lot of people think that's how it's going to play out. And I think people really underestimate just how high inhibition the average guy is. He ain't gonna do any of this shit.
Yeah, I
Ain't
agree.
gonna do
Like, I think a best case scenario is that, and this is a best case scenario, is that a percentage of the Western men, will get on looks maxing, try to do their best to do looks, and then realize that it didn't really make any difference because the market is still rigged and their genetics weren't good enough to begin with. At best, that's what I think will happen. Because truth be told, like, and I say this hand on heart, like, the dudes that I've seen focus on the RP methods of looks maxing have actually done way better than the dudes focused on BP methods of looks maxing. And I fully stand by that. Like, the dudes I've
You mean
seen,
like gym and tats, that kind of stuff?
the ones, yeah, not necessarily tattoos, but like the guys who really knuckled in the gym and neck training and wear muscle fit clothes. Like, I've seen these dudes and they do well. It's rare I see one of them because, these are still small communities, but when I see one of these dudes, who's basically followed like Hamza's aesthetic body protocol and stuff like this. These dudes do actually do well, but I've seen some
You mean
extremely
take steroids and lie about it and get in kickboxing matches without disclosing it? Is that the
yeah,
Hamza method?
yeah, those types, right? Like I've actually seen them do well, but there's some dudes who I've met in real life, and I've met these dudes who, from the community as well, who are like really into the BP. They thought, oh, body doesn't matter whatsoever. It's all about height and face, and they try extremely hard to optimize their hair. They squint max everywhere. They suck in their cheeks walking around. When I've seen those dudes, girls still end up viewing them as quite beta and not attractive because these dudes have optimized for looking good on 5 second uh, TikTok reels for other basement dwellers who obsess over PSL gods rather than optimizing for primal in the real world, like, and what girls actually find hot for a dude walking around a nightclub. Like if you're
Yeah,
one thing you can never go wrong
yeah.
as a man is if you're at least average looking. This is going to be universal and always going to get you success in a nightclub. Is if you're at least 5 out of 10 looks and jacked and wear a black muscle fit top. If you just walk around the nightclub, there's going to be girls giving you choosing signals, 100%.
However, the pushback or devil's advocate I want to add to that is, I think gym maxing and getting like a real aesthetic physique, I think is harder than improving your face. And I know that's that's not the prevailing opinion, but I think like a lot of people really underestimate how much fucking effort goes into getting a good physique. Like, there's obviously the time you spend at the gym, like multiple hours a week. It's basically a part-time job. You gotta go there, you gotta come back. There's all the supplements and protein powder and extra, meat you have to eat. Um, there's all this stuff, and like we're not even gonna get into roids, right? That's its own, kettle of, that's its own thing. But like, that's a lot. That's a lot of work, and you could just like, go into a cosmetic surgeon, fix your bad nose, you recover in a month, and you're permanently buffing your face. I think that's way easier.
Yeah. Or like me, even look ignoring the hard maxing, just a soft maxing. Like people were saying for the longest time, oh, dye your eyebrows, bro. You need to dye your eyebrows, bro. Like people were always saying that. And then
I
eventually I
put
did
you
it.
on that. I actually cajoled you
Oh
into doing
yeah,
it, right?
was it you? Well, people, it would have been a combination, like because I know you mentioned it, but a bunch of other people in the comments were saying it for ages, and eventually I did, and it takes 20 minutes. Well, you got to buy it first, and then just apply it, and then boom, that's like 20% extra contrast to your face from doing one thing, like one floor completely fixed overnight. Um, that's 1,000 times easier compared to spending years in the gym. Like, how long does it realistically take to get the 10 out of 10 body from gym maxing with or without roids? Like with roids, even at least 2 years. Without roids, 5 years minimum.
Yeah, it's a big ordeal. It's a big ordeal. I just think it again. This is like, it depends on who we're talking to. If we're talking to the average guy on Instagram, I think he way overemphasizes physique. If we're talking to people in this community, I think there's a tendency to overcorrect and disregard the physique, and
Yeah.
I think that's also incorrect. I think
It's something in the middle.
the realistic, yeah, right. I think I reacted to watching Androgenic or Nocturnal Ken. I think those two colorful characters were on stream, and yeah, like there were girls like flocking to Androgenic, and I think I said on stream that, if this guy was just a skinny, fat, tall guy just walking around with the same face, I don't think he'd be getting any kind of attention that he was getting on that stream. To be
Yeah,
quite
I
frank.
agree.
So yeah, physique, like, yeah, like, Yeah, sure. Like loads of guys overemphasize it and neglect the face, and yeah, they're wrong. But like don't forget that dimorphism is in the body too.
Yeah, androgenic as optimized for primal giga hard. Like he would
Yeah,
definitely do
he's all in.
extremely well in terms of like just getting primal. Like the instant choosing signals, like higher response from girls, but he would find it very difficult to you know get the long term like social acceptance because he's optimized for primal too hard. And they've even shown this in studies. Like, do you remember those studies where it showed, like, based on the levels of masculinity, whether the girls view you as, I think one of them is an enemy, one of them is a friend, one of them is a short term romantic partner, and then one of them is a long term romantic partner. And
Yeah.
it showed for, like, enemy, the more masculine you are, then the more of an enemy you are. It showed for short term partner that the more masculine you are, the more of a short term partner you are. For the long term partner, it was a bell curve. Like, so medium masculinity is actually the highest, and then for friend, it was actually the more you look like a woman, the more of a friend you are. So the more masculine you are, you can't even be friends with women. Like that's what that study showed. And when it comes to androgenic, he's at the very far left of that scale. Like if we said that the left hand side is extreme levels of masculinity, which means he's very, very high in terms of being a friend, very, very high in terms of very low in terms of being a friend, sorry. He's very low in terms of being a friend. He's very high in terms of being an enemy. He's very high in terms of being a short term partner, and very low in terms of being a long term partner. Because the long term partner was at the middle of the bell curve, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's a mix of yeah, it's like you can imagine some of those traits looking good on a woman as well. Like if you have like a son or daughter, then the son or daughter is going to be good looking.
Hmm. Yeah. Anyway,
By the way, that's kind of my theory behind the why what the female gaze is. It's like a combination of universally good looking features and health indicators as well as dimorphism. So it's like a real safe bet to breed with. I think
hmm.
that's the female gaze.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like if
Anyway,
you have like a son or daughter, are you gonna head off?
I've not got long. Yeah, I've only got a few minutes, so we can like talk about one more topic and then wrap it up.
Yeah, like imagine like having a daughter with Brock Lesnar. Like I'm damn skippy that daughter's not gonna be great looking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Sorry.
like he did have a daughter, or maybe it's some other wrestler like John Cena. Uh, One of them had like a daughter, or it might have been Dwayne the
Mm.
Rock Johnson, and their daughter just looked like quite masculine looking, like quite scary looking, and I didn't think that their appeal was
or
high.
or if you have like and the other end of that is like if you have a daughter with who's a famous guy that is female gaze.
Um, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, I was thinking more Brad Pitt, but like you can imagine having a daughter with Brad
Oh,
Pitt, and the daughter's gonna be a Fogger.
it's gonna be a what?
Fogger.
What's a fogger?
A Smogger, but instead
Oh,
of
okay. Oh, right.
male,
Okay.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
female.
Oh, yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all we need to talk about for today's stream. It's been pretty good. We've done like 2 hours or something.
Yeah, that was the illuminating chat.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I'm gonna wrap it up
Good
then here.
chopping it up with you.
Yeah.
See
Cheers.
ya.
You too. All right. I've ended the stream now, and I'll leave it up from now on, and everything's already live.
Cool. That was fun.